So, tires. Everything about tires, sizes, what do we need to do, what do we need to know? Okay, the first thing, if you're new trucker, what do I need to know about tires? If I'm a new guy, my first job, I just got out of trucking school. Whatever they taught you in trucking school, and then whatever the possible company you're going to get hired, what they tell you that you need to know about your tires. But what you need to do is carry an air gauge. That's all you need to do. Keep an eye on your tires. You need to gauge your steer tires every morning as part of your pre-trip. And you need to they make special valve stems that you don't need to unscrew the valve stem. Used to, you could get them at the Loves. Sometimes you had to go out and ask the guys at the tire shop, and they just give you some. But that way, all you need to do is take your air gauge and check both of those steer tires every day and make sure you're where you need to be. Around 110 is where a steer tire, and so sometimes 115, sometimes 120, whatever you're supposed to run them, they need to be that exact amount every day, or you've got a slow leak. If you come out and it's yesterday it was 120 and today it's 90, then you've got a slow leak. If that were the case, then you're sitting right there at the truck stop with your air gauge doing your pre-trip. You might be able to run to the tire shop and see what's going on. Do you get my idea? Okay. So as a new driver, the only thing you need to know about tires is they need to have the correct pressure in them every day. If you're lucky enough to your drives, you've got super singles to where you only have a total of 4 drive tires, 2 on each side. Also with those valve stems, and I check mine every day. And I kept the air gauge right there in my door. And when I got out to do my pre-trip, that was the first thing I did on my pre-trip. Okay. Now moving on. So if you have a reason to want to know, like, am I working for a good company? You can look at their equipment, and tires are a very quick tell. There's 2 main types of tires as far as pricing or brand or quality. You have your name brand, Michelin, Goodyear, Goodrich, and so on. A very extremely popular good tire that a lot of the fleets are using is called a Michelin X-Line. And if you look at your trucking company or you find out they run Michelin X-Lines, right away that tells you that they're taking care of their equipment. The last company I worked for, they exclusively ran Michelin X-Lines, and there's a reason. You get like a guarantee that your mileage will be like 5% better, or they will compensate you, kind of thing. And then on the trailer, all our trailers had Goodyear or Michelin's on the trailers. And we had contracts where when we went to a Love's to get the tire fixed, Love's would contact Goodyear or Michelin, and our company it was all taken care of. It was all covered under that contract. My point is that some trucking companies and places and various equipment, you will see nothing but top of the line tires on there, and that does make a difference as far as the company, the the how they're running their company, and you have far fewer. The more quality tires are important, and the better quality, the better off you are. A lot of farms, you will never see a Michelin, I mean, rarely, on their equipment, because they're just going to sit out in a field and dry rot, and there's just, they don't get enough use to justify that. But we're really just kind of overviewing tires in general. There's usually just two main sizes, a 22.5 or a 24. That's about it. You got two sizes rims. Most people use a 22.5. Now, obviously, some of your trailers and other things are going to have different sizes, but mostly on your trucks, and the steers and the drives are the same size. There are occasions where you might be running 22.5s on a truck and you might be running 24s on a trailer, or vice versa. Tires have a lot to do with, the low profile. You got to remember your height. Now, in certain cases, that little bit of height may make a difference. A lot of flatbeds run low profile tires. Now, how do you know if you got a low profile tire or you got what they call a tall rubber? Very simply, if it's got numbers on the side, like a 295/75, that's in millimeters. I'm show you right here this size. So the 295 is in millimeters, and then the 75, or the next number on the other side of the dash, is a percentage relative to the first number in your height and your width. Just to remember, if it's got numbers on it, it's quote unquote a low profile tire. If it just says 11R, and that doesn't matter if it's a 22.5 or if it's a 24, if it says 11R, that is what we call tall rubber, or it's a higher profile. A lot of people say they ride better. There's other reasons. If you look on a cattle truck anywhere, because cattle trucks don't care about how high the truck is, you will almost always see tall rubber on a cattle truck, for instance. And you will almost exclusively on a car hauler see low profile tires. And most time on flatbeds and everything else, because they want to, that's maybe an inch or two of height, that the tires make a difference. They will also affect your speedometer. So if you were to put if the truck came and was calibrated for low profile tires, and you changed the tires out to tall tires, then the speedometer could be affected. And so the difference, just to give you an idea, a Michelin X-Line tire, the price difference is probably I don't think you could get one for less than $400. If you're a fleet and you're, of course they're going to be less, but if you just went out, the average Joe, and bought a Michelin X-Line for your semi-truck, you'd probably be paying $650-$700 per tire. Now, to go out and buy a tire made in China, same exact thing, you could probably get them for $125, $150, maybe even less, depending how many you're buying, that sort of thing. So one of the tells I always see about tires, this kind of also applies to new guys. You can tell people have difficulty going around curbs and stuff when you see scuffed up trailer tires and tractor tires, especially on a steer tire. you may have somebody in there driving around that's hitting curbs and running into things, and it's a tell to look at a truck and look at the tires. Good. I used to keep mine clean. I had a special scrubbing method to keep my tires. Tires are a big part of how a truck looks, and if you have nice clean tires, the truck just looks better. It sends a message. Everybody can see it. I can look at a truck and see a god awful, disgusting mess. And you say, well, I have to go through gravel lots in my tire. Yeah, that happens. But when you get to a truck stop, I had a special little deal. You could do two at a time. You could do one side, and you could knock out a tire. Nothing. I would wet a tire down with a little bit of water, and then in a 1-gallon jug, just sloshing. And you'd be surprised with that, like an antifreeze jug. And then you can wet that tire. And you can do that stuff pretty quick. I kept mine, even on my cattle truck, for many years. I kept them all clean. And yes, I'd go through and they'd get, because you can't go in a feed yard and not, drive through some mud. But you go to the truck stop, clean them off, do it quicker rather than later, and they always look good. And people who know the difference. So if you're thinking about a company, if you're thinking about driving, ask them what kind of tires they run. Good quality companies run good quality tires. It's just part of the package. If you're an owner operator and you're trying to get by, you do what you got to do. If you're a farmer, you damn sure ain't running no $800 Michelins, but this is just the way. It's no offense or better, one better, worse. It's just there's different things, and you can tell a lot by a company, whatever, and a driver by the kind of the way they're rolling. So, closing out with the old. All right, I appreciate y'all coming by, and I hope you'll come back for more. Getting to know you, trying to get some views, trying to build a channel here as best I can. So, all right, hope that helps. See you later.